Hi, this is Annie Fox for Family Confidential, Secrets of Successful Parenting. My guest today is Dr. Leah Klungness. Dr. Klungness is a psychologist and recognized authority on single parenting and relationship issues. She is also the co-author of the award-winning book, The Complete Single Mother, 3rd edition, which is the only comprehensive and best-selling self-help book ever written for single parents. Hi, Dr. Leah. Welcome to Family Confidential.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thanks. Well, we're here to talk about single motherhood. And you and I talked several years ago, and I'm really happy that you came back because I've been getting a lot of emails very recently about moms who are now dealing with their teens and tweens on their own. And we know parenthood is a challenge. Single parenthood is a challenge, but maybe the toughest challenge is single parenting during the tween and teen years. What do you say about that?
I would agree 100% because you really have the added challenge of trying to have a life yourself as an adult, and your tweens and teens are searching for that life themselves. So things like dating and relationships, which are very easy to compartmentalize when your children are younger, become increasingly difficult as they're teens and tweens.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. And I also get letters from kids who all of a sudden are finding out that mom is dating or mom's engaged, and they have very ambivalent feelings about this new person. So what kind of advice can you give to single moms of tween and teenage kids as we're both kind of moving in this new chapter?
Well, here's the irony. When you've been a successful single mother, however you define that, because it's certainly different for different people. No one should make the rules in your life but you. But then you find love and you find this person that you want to be in a relationship with. Your children don't necessarily welcome this person because they've been really happy all along.
Yeah.
They
don't want to change.
They're not looking for change. Mm-hmm. They're not looking to have their happy little world upset. I think the advice I would give tweens and teens, two separate groups. But I would start with mom and say, just because you're madly in love and you know this person is right, your children, although you may have always viewed you and your children as kind of a package deal, they're not coming along as the package. They're going to travel their own journey of acceptance of this person and having feelings of safety and love and all the things that you're hoping for, just like you are. This is going to be a project, a responsibility, a commitment that's going to be added to the things that you and your new partner are working on. So I would say, like all good relationships, take it slow. Build the trust slowly, think about how the other person is feeling, what their perspective is, and eventually things very typically work out very nicely for all involved, but not if you try to rush it, because it doesn't work that way.
You know, it's really important what you just said about taking a time to let it develop and that the child, whatever age, has their own agenda and trajectory of when it's going to start to feel more comfortable to have this new person, this new parent figure in their life. And I have often heard from tweens and from parents as well that they want it instantly to be instant family.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
That is a parenting myth that doesn't seem to want to die. That's why the Brady Bunch is in reruns forever. I'm pretty convinced our grandchildren are going to be watching the Brady Bunch in reruns. There is no instant family. And the first things that your children, teens or tweens, are going to think about is, how is this going to change my day-to-day life? For example, you may be thrilled to get out of that cramped apartment and finally get a bigger apartment or even a home of your own. But that's a change. They'll miss their neighborhood. Maybe they have to change schools.
Yeah.
Are the rules going to be different? Is he going to be stricter? Are we still going to have pancake breakfast on Sunday? Are we still going to go to grandma's for Christmas? Like, what's going to happen? And
Yeah.
the truth is, everything in their lives is going to change.
Yeah.
Every last thing. So they're
Yeah.
right to be, they're mentally stable to be wary and concerned.
No, this makes so much sense. And I think that it's often hard for mom who, as you say, may be madly in love now and so excited about this new chapter in her life to have some compassion for all the changes that her choice brings on to the kids who had no vote in it at all.
Exactly, exactly. And it often comes at a time when they, finally settle down and everybody kind of, they got the routine worked out with the non-custodial parent, with dad, and, things have calmed down and settled down. And then what? We're moving? Who is that?
Who is that? Yeah. And why is he telling me what to do?
Yeah, and
And
why
that's the other part of it.
and why did he use up all the pancake syrup? And how come he's in the bathroom for so long? And the list goes on and on.
Yeah. So tell me, now with the internet and so many resources available for parents, and I'm wondering, as you think back, how are things really different from what they were for you when you first became a single mom?
Really doesn't have as much to do with the internet, and maybe it's not an internet technology phenomenon. It's really been a population revolution. When I became a single mother through divorce, as people may or may not know, he broke up with me over the phone, I guess because texting wasn't invented. So my entry to single motherhood was very unexpected and rather instant. It was in many ways a shameful thing. Children who were born, if you were divorced, it was kind of that kind of scarlet letter, kind of thing. If you had a child outside of marriage, people felt free to say the child was illegitimate, whatever in the world that meant, or out of wedlock, or a fatherless child, like somehow biology, rules did not apply. There's a greater acceptance as there have been more children born to single women and single women in committed relationships, but not married. I think there has been a change there. Where I think the internet and technology has played a huge role is the availability of at your fingertips support group.
Yeah.
There have been blogs, there are support groups, there are private groups on Facebook. I mean, it's just, the list is never ending. But it used to be that single mothers were far more isolated because to get out of the house and meet with other single mothers or be in some kind of social group, it was often just financially prohibitive because of the babysitting costs. Now the children can be, tucked in and, the kitchen cleaned up, and you need some adult conversation. You need to, reach out to some other mothers and figure out how they're handling, this, that, or the other thing. You can do that. And I think that's been a huge change.
Yeah, it sounds huge. And I'm also thinking from the child's perspective that he or she no longer feels like the odd one out in their peer group because they're probably not.
Because they're not, and they're no more. What do you mean you don't have somebody to make something for Father's Day?
Yeah.
We don't see Father's Day, Mother's Day anymore. We see Family Day celebrations. Bring somebody important to you, not bring somebody in your family or not who's important to you on that day.
Yeah.
Not where's your mom, where's your dad, what do you mean, da da da. It's just there's not that unwarranted social stigma that children have to face, and I think that's been wonderful too. And let's not kid ourselves, our children are online getting that kind of support also.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. So all to the good. Now I'm wondering, well, what do you wish technology aside and social acceptance aside, what do you wish that you knew then that you absolutely know now about this journey of parenting as a single mom?
I wish I had known how important and memorable and significant the little things were to my children.
Give me an example, please.
The cinnamon rolls, which I must confess were, pop dough, pop open dough. I wasn't like kneading it to make it rise, that we always had on Sunday morning. And that we would eat our cinnamon rolls and look at the paper. I always felt that I wished I had been able to provide more trips, more this, more that. But I didn't truly understand until my children had children of their own, how those little rituals that we had, the fact that we did keep a tidy house together, that we worked as a team together. We used to do things like, we're going to set the kitchen timer for 15 minutes and we're going to clean and then we can go to the park. I hear that directly echoed in both my son and daughter in their home. That's the legacy, not the trip I managed to, put together the money to go to Disney World or go here, go there. They remember those, but those aren't integral parts of their everyday life. That's not what's really in their soul.
Yeah, that's great. So that the little things, and I think maybe good advice. Not a single parent myself. The idea of not to feel guilty about what you're not providing, but to focus on
what you
the heart to stuff that you are providing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The guilt can be, there's so much to make parents guilty now. Single parents, not single parents.
Yeah.
You should be doing this and it should be organic and it should be gluten-free and it should be, all that, and you can't play with that and you can't do this and that could be dangerous. Focus on the security that you give your children just by your presence.
No, I'm thinking that kind of security and groundedness has to come from a groundedness that one has on her own. And for single moms maybe who are early on in this journey, what advice can you give them when they're really not feeling very grounded?
Get some support. You may get some support outside your children. Even if your children are teenagers, even if they're taller than you, even if they come across like they're really emotionally savvy and, they understand mom, and no, they're your children and you're the adult. Of course, you're going to have worries and concerns and guilt. And these are feelings that you should share with trusted adults. When I say get support, I don't necessarily mean go to therapy, although obviously as a psychologist, I'm a big proponent of therapy, of talk therapy. But even if it's just an online group where you can really be you and talk about what's bothering you with people that truly understand, that's a pitfall of single parenting. It's one thing to be the team that cleans the house or the team that gets that garage straightened out or whatever. But your children cannot be your emotional support. They have enough on their own emotional plate.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be. It's too much to ask. It's unfair, and I think it muddies the waters terribly in terms of what we were talking about, legacy and what you can and do provide in the long term picture to your children. You don't want your children to be thinking about you as someone who was a basket case, who wasn't stable enough for me to feel as a child that I could lean on her.
Right. Oh, when I was in high school, I didn't do this and didn't do that because I really had to stay and kind of take care of my mom. Yeah. My mom really needed me. Yeah. And that's kind of a sad legacy. We're putting so many demands societally on tweens and teens, how they should look, what they need to do, what they're exposed to. It's really important for mom to be mom. And when mom feels she can't be mom needs to reach out to the universe that's also filled with women who are not sure at that moment they really can be mom too. The help is really there.
Yeah, and I really love that aspect of social media these days, that there are really so many different channels one can turn to for not just to post a question and get an answer, but to actually engage in real time in Twitter chats and Facebook chats, those kinds of online events. You just need some adult perspective and some support. You can get it. And for those of you who are watching and listening and find yourself sometimes really in need, rather than turn to your children at that moment, I would really encourage you to look to other adults.
It's a Google search away.
Yeah, good way
It's
to
a Google
put it.
search away.
Okay, Dr. Leah, we're about to wrap up here. And before we do, I'd like to give you an opportunity to let our viewers and listeners know where they can find out more about your work.
You can find out more about my work by going to my website. It's Dr. Leah, Leah.com. And you can also find me on Twitter, Dr.Leah, Leah. And I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me right through my website.
That would be great, and I hope people avail themselves of that opportunity, because I know you, I know your work, and I know that you are an invaluable resource to people. So I thank you very much for the work that you do.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too.
This is Annie Fox for Family Confidential. To learn more about my work with tweens, teens, and parents, visit anniefox.com. And please check out my parenting book, Teaching Kids to Be Good People, Progressive Parenting for the 21st Century, and my latest book for 8 to 12-year-old girls, the Girls Q&A book on friendship, 50 Ways to Fix a Friendship Without the Drama. And please consider reviewing our podcast on iTunes. It may be a little thing to you, but it means an awful lot to us. Family Confidential podcast is produced by Electric Eggplant, creators of books and apps for parents, kids, tweens, and teens. And tune in next week when my guest will be Sharon Haywood, longtime co-editor of the website Adios Barbie. Sharon and I will be talking about positive body tips for parents of girls. Until next time, happy parenting!